6:30. It is November 17th of 25, and we're going to call the meeting to order. Roll call.
John here.
Ray is here.
Jones here.
Church here.
Leonard here.
Okay, we'll do the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Buchanan, do we have compliance with open meeting law?
Yes, we are.
All right. Now we go to approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda for November 17, 2025.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're going to go with the agenda as written. So now we're to the consent agenda, and I would like to pull out two items. The Park Committee 9/16/25 and the Park Committee report of October 25. Anybody else have anything they want to pull out?
I just have one request from the ETA ESC, so I don't know if that has to be pulled out or not.
I don't know. You have a request from them?
No, I have a request that we see the chief's report. You would include that?
I was told that Sue usually sends it over. Clerk Buchanan, is that?
Clerk Buchanan.
The fire chief's report.
It's not received this month. Yeah, Barb always
Okay.
said that to us in the past.
I asked Sue the other day specifically if she sent it, and she said yes. So I will in the future get that in.
That's your action item?
Yeah, it's an action item. I will make a motion we approve the consent agenda with pulling out the two park committee reports.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so the two couple of questions I had. It's the September 16th. I had sent an email quite a while ago, and I never got a chance to follow up on it, but I see it appears here in the minutes. So I guess we're,
I was given, on the September 16th agenda, or park committee report, I asked Ken Zest to respond to Chairman Clark, or former Chairman Clarkowski, Joe Clarkowski, because he was on the park board when that action took place.
that wasn't the point. I sent an email to you, and I never got a response back, and then I just see it show up here. So that's, I thought we could have just handled it with an email. But anyway, so it's here, and I wanted to ask a couple of things. Is Todd here?
Yep.
Oh, not that
Shield.
All right, that's fine, I didn't know that. I just didn't know, he said he cannot support this Army Lake Trail?
Correct.
Okay,
He said he doesn't have the equipment or the hours to fit that in at this time.
okay. The other thing on this specific report is the fee. Where was, I thought the fee for the 60 acres, for the DNR to use their parking lot? What is that at? Is it 500, 1,500?
It has not been negotiated with the DNR, so they have not, we have not opened negotiations because they had a number of punch items that we had to complete. Those items are completed, so I'm in email conversations with Brian Jacks to see where that is at. And I also had asked Mr. Jacks if we were not grooming the park, if we could still acquire that agreement.
Okay. I knew there was a number. I thought they threw like $1,500 and we were trying to push it.
$1,500 initially, and the materials that Todd and Chief Gurecki and I gathered for them, I was hoping to bring it down, but we have not had a face-to-face conversation, and there are a number of DNR people that need to be present to have that conversation.
Okay.
And that had my correspondence with Brian Jacks from the DNR, who is the overseer at this point. We haven't gotten it.
Okay. And then the last thing on this report, under 10, on page 7 of the packet, there's discussion and possible action on the public pier at Wilmer's Grove public boat launch.
It was tabled last month.
The fact that it's on a town agenda, we voted on 7/14/25 to deny approval for you to do this work and to spend town resources. However, we had DPW Shield go out and get pier quotes, and we're still talking about it in the town committee. So I guess I would ask that we stop doing that. You can have a discussion with the DNR and stuff like that, but it really shouldn't be happening on town, in town resources. That's the main thing.
But you guys continued by doing a survey of the property. I made it clear that the park committee had no funds for it and it was pulled from the budget.
Well, on the report, you're saying the public fishing pier status is complete. How do we know that? Because I'm in direct contact with the
That
surveyor.
must be an error on my part, my mistake.
So that-
I believe I thought I said it was tabled.
What says public fishing pier status survey complete?
Well, you did complete the survey.
No,
You had it surveyed.
no, it's not done.
Oh.
We're still working with the surveyor to get that done.
Okay. I thought it was done.
They're working through a title company right now, so that's why I just don't understand, and I'm not quite sure why it's here. So should we change that then in the minutes? Yes, ma'am.
The survey has been invoiced and has been paid for at this point. We did receive an invoice from
But
Lynch.
the survey is not complete, and I had a follow-up email with the surveyor directly after signing that invoice in the packet, last week. And I said, what gives here? I just signed payment for $1,800, and you don't have a survey in my hand yet. So what's happening? It's still with the title company. So it's just, I just think we need to be all on the same page before we just start doing things, that's all. So the survey is not complete. I don't know, is that yours, that you would, I guess this isn't minutes, it's just a report. All right. So that's all I had with those two items. Clerk Treasurer's report.
Treasury report for October 2025, total receipts for $96,768.09. Transfers were $179,000. Interest earned on general checking was $363.33. Balance as of September 30th was $25,174.98. Total funds for October were $301,306.40. Checks paid in October were $224,632.78, leaving a balance in the general checking of $76,678.62.
So I would ask questions now before we accept the report. That's how this works. Anybody else have questions? I was going to bring it up to you. What I wanted to know is, how does the designated funds get funded? Is there a standard amount that we move every month, every quarter, every year? How does that work?
There are no set deposits. There are some designated funds that are, like, I can't think of the word, but they cannot be touched. They're for like occupancy deposit refunds and things like that. But other than that, there's no like specific set asides for different items.
Well, specifically, there's LGIP 6, number 6. That is for payouts with employees and such.
Yeah, I gave you a spreadsheet in last month's packet that gave the complete breakdown
How is it
of all the
funded?
designated funds.
How is it funded?
The interest accumulates in there, and then the board at the end of the month, or at the end of the year, at the end of the year designates where they want to put that interest amount. Actually, that's done in January. My apologies. So,
The interest from the fund. So we're not putting anything more in these funds.
no.
And the reason why I bring it up is we have some designated funds. We're going to be talking about our budget and such. Next Monday is a budget hearing. And I just see some funds in here that they're all part of the assets on our balance sheet. And I just, some of them are quite reasonable. So,
There
All
are
right.
two,
Go ahead.
in park development and police facilities, those are funded by impact fees, which are when lots, a new lot gets a new home on it. Then that parcel pays an impact fee of $901, and then it's split between, $914, and it's split between the park development and the police facilities.
okay. Yeah. So, do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we accept the treasurer's report. You have something more with your report on the back. Any other comments with the secondary report?
Unless anybody got any questions.
We're good?
Yeah, I just had a question, point number 17, you said you contacted ETF for health. Okay, that's what employee trust funds?
Yeah.
That's the
It's
current
in
program?
lowercase. They actually do it lowercase and italicized, that's how they have it.
Okay.
So,
And then we had some issues on road right-of-way, or we're looking to modify our language on that?
that was something that Jim had brought up was it last month, Jim, or was it? It was with the spectrum box that.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Okay,
That's what that issue was.
okay.
Yeah, I think I saw your response to them. You haven't heard back yet, right?
No, I wrote to them
Yeah.
denying it. They had indicated that they never received it, so I had her email address, so I just scanned it and sent it over. It was probably a week ago.
And then I see you already prepared the information letter to go out with the taxes. Was there anything new included in there this year or related to our budget or?
It's the standard letter about tax collection hours, and stuff. We did reference that we're working on, being able to take tax payments and other payments, like credit card. There's the dog license information, and then just some general dates for next year, like, when our e-cycles are, and when our, elections are, the basic, and contact information for different offices, John's disposal, things like that. Just the standard letter.
I didn't know if that would have been an opportunity for anything with the fire district fees and, or fire.
You need to go back to them.
This is what goes in the tax letter that everyone. But I know what you're saying.
Page.
You're saying it has some commentary. on what
We
it-
missed that opportunity, it sounds like.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's, the information I have is a full 2-page. It had, you would have had to have a 3rd page and paper and an official page. So.
Okay. All right, we are to public comments.
Do we need to approve the request report?
We already did.
We just did the treasurer's report.
Oh,
We did the
do we
treasurer's.
vote?
You had those questions, so now you vote.
Oh, because we have questions, we gotta vote. Okay.
Make a motion we approve the treasurer's.
Yeah, but that was the clerk's report, in addition to the treasurer's.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so now we're to public comments. Please be advised that per state statute 19.84 sub 2, information may be received from the public. Comments are limited to 4-minute periods per person. Be further advised that there will be no discussion on the information received and no action will be taken regarding public comments tonight. Upon conclusion of the citizen participation segment, members of the audience are not allowed further comment unless they are participating in a public hearing or is specifically allowed by a majority vote of the town board due to involvement in a specific agenda item. Public comments allow constituents to give the town board the perspective on town-related issues in the form of an opinion-based comments only. The purpose of allowing public comments is not to give a platform for personal-based direct attacks against other people or board members or the like. Is there anyone who would like to speak public comments, sir?
My name is Chris Trepetoski, and I currently live at North 9270 East Shore Road. As of tomorrow, because I received all my permits today, the house or the duplex and the old double Ds will come down, and my wife and I are happy that we will begin construction of our new home. I've attended a few of the meetings and watched online. I believe that the agenda of the town board is very substantial and being addressed in a very efficient way. And I believe that it is the responsibility of all of us to do what we can to help in that regard. And with that, I want to inform everybody here that as of this morning, I filed a declaration of candidacy for a town supervisor who will be running in the spring election. I believe in 3 principles that will guide me. They are transparency in government. I believe, especially on a local level, it is critical that people understand why and how things happen. Second, fiscal responsibility. And fiscal responsibility means that within the function, especially at the closest level of government to people, that services are delivered at effective prices and delivered in a way that people understand. And the final principle that will guide me and how I will run my campaign is simply this, and that is equal access. And by that I mean one set of rules for everybody, whether you live on a lake, whether you live in the town, whether you're rich, whether you're from Illinois, or you've moved from Milwaukee like me so you can get away from all of the stuff that's there. Everybody deserves to have equal access. You'll see me at meetings. I'll be there. I'll be there at the budget meeting because I'm very interested in learning some more things about that, because there's some things that as I read the reports that come out that don't make sense to me, that the numbers don't add up, and I want to understand why. So with that, thank you for listening to me, and you'll be hearing from me more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, my name is Fabian Latoka, and starting out, I'd like to thank the board for everything you guys have listened to for the last almost 2 years as far as wake surfing, all the different positions. Pardon me?
Will you state your address, please?
1747 and 1751 Lake Road.
Thank you.
Yep. So, I think all of us, and I'm part of Buell Responsible Voters, but everybody here is supportive of a healthy, safe, and responsible lake system, and it requires mutual respect. It requires courtesy, and the patience in listening to diverse objectives or opinions on what everybody thinks. And we've taken in a ton of information from a variety of different sources. At this point, we're looking at an ordinance that has a 500-foot shoreline buffer, 25-foot depth restriction, and that's been supported by Lake Beulah Management District, Protect Lake Beulah for sure. The 25-foot depth isn't necessarily something that's supported by the studies in this area. Most of the gold standard studies, like the St. Anthony Falls, Minnesota studies, recommends a 20 feet depth in surf mode. It also recommends at least at no less than 10 feet for non-surf boats, which we're apparently not addressing at all. And regardless of whether it's cruising, planing, or in the surf boat, sediment redistribution is going to occur. The assessment of that impact is something that's very difficult to study. And to be honest, none of these studies have really looked at sediment redistribution. They haven't looked at specific areas as to the impact it has on shoreline spawning. The second thing is the Terra Vigila study didn't actually make a depth recommendation, or they didn't actually measure the study of suspended sediment in the water column. Terra Vigila observed lake bottom surf mode impacts at 21 feet, but didn't say anything beyond that. They did suggest that people move on to do further studies at different depths. So, the St. Anthony Falls 2022 study only evaluated wave height, energy, and power, did not address potential environmental impacts such as shoreline riparian erosion, water quality degradation, or alteration to aquatic habitats. And that's something else that's been sketchy as far as reporting of water quality on Lake Beulah. I know their DNR does their studies on it, but to be able to demonstrate that there's actually been a cause and effect study, even in the last Protect Lake Beulah Management newsletter, they now found the zebra mussels are friendly because they're clearing water, which is counterintuitive to anything that people have looked at in the past. The third has to do with Lake Beulah Management Department's own weed harvesting permit by Lake and Pond Solutions in 2021, noted that plant species capable of growing at 20-plus foot depths, and the deep growing plant community is a positive sign of Beulah's health. The deep community is made up of very few species and can exist under those conditions, but add greatly to the diversity and the range of flora within the lake. The study further stated that 10 to 20-foot depth range shows a very healthy and diverse plant community. There are 21 different species located in that zone, 11 of which exist in the 10 to 15-foot range. And then moving on, the proposed 500-foot buffer appears to be based on the erroneous assumption that no boat should have a shoreline impact greater than the smallest impact created by a completely different type of boat. Hence, if you're running a power boat with a tuber behind it, 200 feet offshore, it's going to give you just as much wave and shoreline. Thank you very much, and thank you again, Board.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Rob Siegel, North 8778, Wilmers Point Lane. I'm Rob Siegel, representing the Beulah Responsible Boaters, and we want to sincerely thank the board for this tremendous effort you're going to put into updating and revising our long outdated ordinances. Tackling a high-profile issue like wake surfing as a priority demonstrates true dedication to modernizing our community standards. When I think about the information that's got to be gathered for policy making, I think about all of the words that go along with, the selection or the selective words that go along with looking at what's presented to us. When I look at Chairman Jones' proposal, one of those words that comes to mind is balanced. It's informed, rational. It's a compromise focusing on recreational activities equitably. There's clarity. Recreational zones are to be clearly marked, which is easy to understand. It's pragmatic. The chairman's proposal doesn't rely on a preordained 500-foot setback that in most cases unduly restrict the boundaries of a wake and hand zone as well as create further safety concerns. It's decisive. It's a permanent solution that permits us as a community to now pivot towards optionalizing and educating. It's inclusive. The St. Anthony's Falls study concluded that all boats can impact lake bottoms at 10 feet or less, and it's on us to make sure that we are aware of our boat's impact on the lake bottom. The chairman's proposal reminds us that we are all lake stewards, regardless of the chosen boating activity. And lastly, it's sensible. The chairman's proposed boating in a counterclockwise direction when it's heavy, weekends, holidays will drastically improve boater safety, addressing lake and boat capacity constraints.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Bob Royce, W884 Shorewood Drive. I wanted to make a comment on the agenda item to approve recommendations to amend Section 16 of Waterways and Boating Regulations. I spent some time looking through those in depth. On page 77 of 44, DC 1605.065, it states, no cutting through or mooring of boats or rafts in recreational zones 2 and 3 during motorboat hours. I don't know if it's supposed to say or of. Or means that you can't moor a boat or raft during recreational hours. If this were approved, it would be that no boats, pontoon boats or fishing boats, would be able to anchor outside the slow and wake buoys. You could no longer swim in the middle of the lake on weekends and during ski hours. A lot of us on Potter's Lake, because of the shallow depth of our lake, swim out in the middle of the lake through anchored pontoons or anchored fishing boats when the water's choppy. Another thing I noted was on page 8 of 44, ski hours on Potter's Lake should be updated from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. to 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. This would be consistent with what is already on the sign at the boat launch. The lake rules have been distributed for at least the past 21 years and what is currently on the Potter Lake website. This was also voted and consistent with our annual meeting that we held in September. I saw recreational zones for our lake, recreational zones 1, 2, and 3. The only map that was given to the board in the packet showed recreational zones labeled on Lake Beulah. Where are the recreational zones on Potter's Lake? Who's going to be responsible for the buoys? There's a lot of things with traffic lanes greater than 200 feet. Potter's Lake has already complied with that. We do comply with the slow and wake buoys. Recreational zones 1 and 3, fish spawning areas. The fish spawning areas, it's noted in the new proposed, fish spawning areas should be confirmed by DNR and possibly a guided professional fisherman who know and frequent the lake. It'd be helpful to include date ranges for the major fish categories found in Lake Beulah and Potters, bass, northern pike, etc. And we would be required to mark all the fish spawning beds in our lake and put buoys in there. What are our lakes going to look like if we have to mark every single spawning bed with buoys? I think that's counterproductive. There's sportsmen here who fish. If they mark out all the spawning beds, where do you think the fishermen are going to go? Our lakes are going to be more heavily fished than they already are right now. The other thing that I noted too that was changed is swimming rafts. No permits required for a swimming raft, water trampoline, or recreational device or structures, as long as the size is no greater than 200 square feet. This was pulled from the DNR code, NR 326.08. But you failed to list the exemptions. I personally have a water raft with a slide on it. This would prohibit me from keeping my slide, which is approved right now through the DNR, through the NR code. I'm also disturbed, I'm a prior board member of Potter's Lake. If I was still on the board, this information held at the meeting tonight, you're asking to move forward with making these changes. None of the homeowners on our lake are aware. It says to move forward, that's on the agenda, to approve the changes on the agenda. If I would have put this on our Facebook page and put all these things in that are going to change on our lake or that proposals are going to be changed, there would be 3 times the amount of people here. I don't know if the board has worked with the Beulah Management District or the Potters Lake District, but I, as a constituent and homeowner, have not been notified of the changes. I'm only aware because I attend the meetings and look at the packet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Dennis Schultz, W902 Shorewood Drive. I want to echo a little bit of what Bob Rice just said and add on that the changes and some of the proposals in the new boating regulations and what happens on our lake. A couple of things. We've been buoying our lake for about 30 years now. We can't find anything that said that the town has the ability to come in and tell us where we have to put buoys. They just say that we have to have a traffic lane. The other thing that concerns me is that a number of these items would add a significant cost. For example, an area for the possibility of using wake boats on our lake is such a small area. The packet says it's approximately 3.2 acres, and that's based on information back from the 1950s. That would mean that we'd have to get somebody in here at a significant cost to all the riparian owners to not only have that mapped out and then to have buoys on it. And like Bob said just a few minutes ago, we're going to end up with a lake full of buoys. I'd just like to say that we haven't had the ability to sit down and talk about all of these changes. We'd appreciate that, especially as a riparian owner, to be able to have some kind of input to see this before the town is considering taking action and moving this to the DNR for their approval. I think not only is it unfair, it's unjust. So I thank you for your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sherry Reilly in 9481 Island Drive. I'm going to kind of echo what the last two speakers kind of spoke about. So I work full-time. I didn't get a notice about the agenda. I found it online, and I went through the majority of the packet. The attorney actually printed out every single page of that packet, I believe.
I did.
It's 150 pages. I only printed out 10. To ask community to prepare for a meeting, it's very difficult. To ask the board to decipher the amount of things that are in that packet in one meeting is very ambitious. I appreciate what the board is doing. I appreciate what the board has done. However, we had a meeting not even last fall where we voted on the whole wakeboard issue, and nothing really has been done. And now it's all being shoved into one meeting, in addition to how many other changes are being talked about, and that's primarily what I printed out. And we don't even get a chance to acknowledge any of these things, and these things are being talked about after we have the public comment section. So I would make a recommendation that maybe the public comments would follow some of the agenda items and maybe not be so ambitious in one meeting's requirements. Maybe today should have just been, let's talk about wakeboarding, because those are sensitive things that require DNR approval for us to move on those. But yet that is the major issue that is impacting our lake at this point. And I think that maybe we should be not so ambitious and focus on one at a time. And there's no reason why we can't look at fees at a later date or talk about other things. But I really want to hear number 9. I mean, that's why I believe most of us are here. And I want to hear, before I start critiquing my opinion, I can't really have one because I can't hear what the board has to say. And to ask the town to respond to that without even hearing what your recommendations are, other than our church's wonderful explanation and a motion that is in place. But then there's Chairman Jones's information that I don't know if that's a motion, I don't know if those are changes. We as the town don't really know what's going on. This was incredibly confusing, and it's very hard to decipher.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm not going to speak about wakeboarding. It's not my issue tonight. Good evening. My name is Ken Zess, West 598 Bell School Road. I would like to address the proposed fire protection fee ordinance, agenda item 11D. Under state law, if the town wants to exceed the levy limit, they have to ask the board to approve the increase through a referendum. Instead, the town board wants to exceed the levy limit by establishing a fire protection fee, which falls outside of the tax increase because it is claimed as a special charge or fee, somehow not making it a tax. Fire protection is a core government function that benefits the entire community, unlike water or sewer service, which correlates with direct usage. Fire protection is a service that people hope never to need. Therefore, charging a flat or property size-based fee without a direct link to the actual consumption of the service makes the fee inherently unfair and more akin to an unjust tax. The core issue of this proposed fire protection fee is the legal classification as a tax versus a fee. A recent lawsuit filed by the Wisconsin Manufacturers of Commerce is currently challenging similar fire protection fee ordinances adopted by Dawson and Pewaukee in Waukesha County Circuit Court. Opponents argue that the fees are unlawful taxes that are not directionally proportional to the actual use or benefit received by the property owner, a key legal distinction in Wisconsin law. The outcome of this and similar cases will largely determine the long-term viability of property-based fire protection fees in the state. At this time, I would ask that the board delay implementing the fire protection ordinance until the courts have determined the viability of these fire protection fees. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Brian Fonz, and 8680 Wilmers Grove Road. Before I get into the comments, I just want to correct a previous comment that was made about the St. Anthony's Falls study. They did recommend a wake enhancement and 20 feet water, but it also said 20 feet from the tops of the weeds. Lake Beulah is a weed bottom covered lake, so that 25-foot recommendation is based in consistent, it is consistent with the St. Anthony Falls study. It's difficult to provide public comments before more discussions. However, regarding the two wake surfing zone proposals in the packet, I'd like to share some thoughts and comments. First, considering limited space on Mill Lake and the concern for the earth levee along Highway J, it is good to see both proposed wake plans prohibit wake surfing in Mill Lake. Protecting the lake is, the dam is important as well as the shoreline. Also, regarding the lake, the buoys have been placed at 200 feet for years. So we've had some observations of that type of buoy layout. And many of the residents on the lake have testified that 200-foot distance did not protect the shoreline and protect the property. So the question is, why propose 200 foot for the rest of the lake? And I think we need to consider the experience that we've had with Mill Lake and whether we want to apply that out to the rest of the lake. And now regarding the counterclock pattern proposal with the 200-foot proposal, as shown on the map, requiring the boats to pass along the perimeter of the zones, basically I'm going around the outside of the zones, it's constantly putting the wake boat closer to shore and causes repetitive passes in the same areas. This makes the impact worse for those shorelines. Even the wake boat industry warns against doing repetitive passes in the same area. So I think that needs to be considered. Also, if the belief that shaping the wave to the middle of the lake will allow for the 200-foot buffer, this has to be looked at closer. Wake boat hulls are symmetrical like every other boat hull, and the water displacement is virtually equal among both sides of the boat. As fluid dynamic experts point out, a ballasted boat produces a wake with twice the height and 4 times the energy of non-ballasted boats. The experts also state that wave energy versus wave height is more predictive of the impact of the wake on the lake bottom and the lake shoreline, so it's the wake energy. The water displacement from the left side of the boat is virtually equal to the water displacement from the right side of the boat. While the wave shaping alters the wave to be steeper and more attractive for surfing, the water displacement is significant from both sides of the boat and will still do damage and present safety issues. In addition, many wake boats don't even have the ability to shape waves, and the impact is the same regardless of what direction they go in. Surf gates and wave shaping does not alter the power of these boats enough to provide cover for them to operate 200 feet from shore. This isn't a big deal, but it's another question when we look at any activity. People are right-handed and left-handed, and 2/3 of the wake surfers ride standard stance, 1/3 ride goofy. For forcing them all in the same direction, what happens to those that don't like to surf that way? Just throwing that out there. It will be a problem for those that don't surf the way you want them to go. The next concern is the pattern between Dockside and Beaver Camp. And if they were forcing them to go through this channel, that's going to prevent a safety hazard where they're going to be going head-on into each other. And I think we really need to look at that. It's a 100-foot area, and I just don't think that would be adding safety to the equation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Tom Van Bogart, W2035 Beulah Heights Road. I got back yesterday from an African safari and I spent a couple of weeks there. It was awesome to experience nature. There was a lesson that I learned through one of the parks that we went to that I wanted to share with this board and the people. It's Manara National Park in Tanzania. 10 years ago, it supported pink flamingos, tens of thousands of them. And what happened is the lake is half park and it's half farm industry. And the government actually made it a political topic and they decided that they would let the farmers continue to do as they did, and the park rangers could manage the park as they would manage it. However, it was one lake, and what happened is the farming industry basically killed the lake. The alkaline level changed. The crustaceans that the pink flamingos live on all died, and the flamingos got plagues. They died or moved away, and the grasslands along the shore. And now it's impacting the entire ecosystem of the park. And the new elected officials are having to make a decision that for the lions, there's not enough food supply for them, so they either have to make the decision to bring food in to feed the lions or let them starve and die. But the bigger issue is tourism is their number one fund. That's what supports the country. And people are stopping going to this particular park because the wildlife is decreasing. The guide that I was with said that 9 years ago, they would do a night safari and they would see over 1,000 animals. Today, when he does it, they see 100 animals. And he contributes it to the lack of ecological care of the lake, which collapsed the entire system, and it's now impacting the economics of that entire community. And I think that the cost of not following science can be very expensive. So I encourage this board, and with any sort of decisions that are made, to not make it political, but to follow the science and make sure that we're doing the right thing for Lake Beulah. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Steve Huning, W1763 Lake Road. I'm here tonight as the current president of Protect Lake Beulah, a volunteer organization that's been protecting and improving Lake Beulah for more than 130 years. As protectors of the lake, we've dealt with many issues over the course of those 130 years, beginning with the removal of the stumps following the creation of the Highway J Dam, the introduction of power boats, the Supreme Court decision related to the high-capacity well, and most recently, the impact of wake surfing technology. For the last 2 years, PLB has been carefully gathering reliable wake surfing data, and we've been sharing that data with our local leaders and the citizens of East Troy. Over the course of those 2 years, the data has become increasingly reliable and increasingly consistent. At the suggestion of this august body, we have even conducted scientifically sound studies right here on Lake Beulah, with the cooperation of the management district using public funds. Likewise, public opinion has been consistently in favor of limiting wake surfing in order to protect the health of the area lakes. Tonight's ordinance proposal from Supervisor Church is the culmination of all that input. It is quite possibly the only opportunity to allow wake surfing in a safe and minimally impactful way. It calls for wake surfing in select areas of the lake with a minimum depth of 25 feet and a minimum distance from shore of 500 feet. The language used in her proposal is language that has already survived the scrutiny of the DNR. And it is language that has already served many other Wisconsin communities well. In short, Supervisor Church's proposal is the shortest, easiest path to achieving a compromise solution that allows wake surfing on Lake Beulah, and PLB supports the passage of Supervisor Church's proposal. If, for some reason, Supervisor Church's proposal fails, PLB leadership will support the more exhaustive efforts of Chairman Jones with one very important condition, and that condition is the removal of the 20-foot deep and 200-foot from shore criterion and replacement of said with 25 feet of depth and 500 feet from shore. PLB commends Chairman Jones for his efforts in rewriting almost the entirety of the waterways and boating ordinance. And it's especially appreciative of the AIS section, as that is yet another area of grave concern. Another concern with Chairman Jones' proposal is the scale and the complexity might hinder the approval or slow its implementation. In conclusion, PLB leadership still believes that wake surfing is inappropriate for Lake Beulah. But in the interest of reaching a compromise solution that allows for carefully controlled wake surfing activity, along with reliable data gathering during the summer of 2026, we recommend passage of Supervisor Church's proposal, and failing that, the passage of Chairman Jones' proposal with the removal and replacement of those 20 and 200-foot criterion. Working together, we can do what the East Troy community has long been known for, and that is finding compromise solutions that preserve and protect town resources while allowing an ever-expanding universe of enjoyable activities both on and off the water. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Pat Bergen, W1950 Pastime Lane. I'm also the chair of the Lake Beulah Management District. The Management District supports Commissioner Church's proposal. I'm not going to repeat, or I'm going to try not to repeat anything that's already been said. But with respect to Chairman Jones' proposal, the zones as described are not cumulative. That is, there's no distance limitation from shore in Zone 3. The only restriction is 20 feet of depth. This would mean that Zone 3 can duck into, of course, Zone 1 and areas along Pastime Lane that would bring surf boats within 60 feet of shore. Zone 3 simply cannot say prohibited motorboat activities, none. That literally means you can do anything you want in Zone 1. So there are no restrictions. I think we covered the 200 feet is not enough. In the same section, we have this wording that is called progress expeditiously. What does that mean in Zones 2 and Zone 3? Does that mean I cannot proceed at a slow and awake speed? That seems to be what it means. Sub C also says, no cutting through or mooring of boats. I think this was already mentioned. Thank you, by the Booth Lake folks. Also, we need to consider just what people that aren't moored, that are just drifting. And also, we need to say what cutting through is. I'm not sure what that means. With respect to 1605, 120 sub 2, it appears that you've done away entirely with the weekend and holidays slow and awake restrictions. I'm not sure that that was the intent, but it does appear to be crossed out. Also, there's substantial confusion between skiing and surfing within the ordinance, within the amendments to the ordinance and the existing ordinance, that it all needs to be cleaned up before this is approved, and I would think discussed in general. With respect to 1605.140, a mirror is simply not a substitute for a human spotter. You're now asking a driver, in case of a barefoot boat that's going 40 miles an hour, to monitor a skier behind them on a long line potentially while they're going 40 miles an hour, or a slalom skier like myself. My wife cannot keep me in the mirror on a slalom ski. This is a significant safety problem. There's also the need for a second person on the boat to assist an injured surfer or skier into the boat. 1605, 245, it's simply unjust to charge a fine for something that isn't explicitly defined and forbidden by statute. So there's two issues. One is says shall include but not limited to the following. Well, do you just get to make up whatever the following is? The town board being that. And it also says appropriate. Appropriate to whom? So the town can simply decide buoy placement whenever it wants, however it wants. So with that, again, the Management District supports Commissioner Church's proposal. Thank you very much for your time and consideration of this issue.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Oh. I waited too long.
Hi. My name is Mary Quirk, W1522 South Shore. I want to thank the town board for their time and effort, applaud for their patience in listening to the diversity of viewpoints on this issue. From its inception, Beulah Responsible Boaters have been committed to preserving the rights of all boaters while protecting Lake Beulah for future generations. Our approach emphasizes compromise and collaboration on the focus of education and enforcement of current ordinances and community partnerships to strengthen safety and stewardship. In support of these goals, we've coordinated a boater safety education session scheduled for May 16th, 2026, in partnership with East Troy Police Department, East Troy Fire and Rescue, Wisconsin DNR, and Sean Benton, the certified instructor. This session is designed for participants aged 10 to 110 and will run approximately 2 to 2.5 hours with an opportunity to register for on-water instruction later in the month. The program is open to all who enjoy Lake Beulah, residents, visitors, and seasonal users alike. We've received enthusiastic support from East Troy Police, Fire and Rescue, and the DNR, and many others. We have not received any feedback from LBMD. To our knowledge, there's not been an opportunity like this in East Troy in over 2 decades. We believe this initiative represents a meaningful step forward in fostering a culture of safety, education, and shared responsibility. We invite all lake users and community leaders to participate, support, and help promote this event. Together, we can ensure Lake Beulah remains a safe, vibrant, and inclusive space for generations to come. Thank you again, Mary.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Let's move on. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Since Superintendent Shield is not here, anybody stepping in for him? Otherwise, any questions from the board on his report? I didn't have any.
I had none.
You do?
I had none.
Oh, none, okay. All right, so we'll move on to...
Oh, I'm sorry, I have one. Okay. What is going on with the Beulah Heights culvert? I thought we were getting...
It's out for bid, I did not hear...
I thought we were getting bids
November
7th.
Yeah.
And then we were gonna make a decision.
Have you seen the...
Immediately.
I can tell you what I know from Todd's conversations, is because that's a real issue, they're working with Lynch, and Lynch is putting out new information for a new bid process. As soon as we have that, it'll be posted in the paper. And then contractors can bid. So the date of November 7th became moot upon discovery of those soil issues. It's my understanding from brief conversations in the office and a brief communication with Lynch.
Do you know if we have a new date that's gonna be kind of
Todd
soil
has indicated
samples?
that it likely won't start until March. But of course, that's truly weather dependent.
Right, well, okay, well.
We need to
we
get the
need to-
RFP.
We gotta see, I didn't hear anything about this, so that's very troubling.
I do remember it was November 7th.
Yeah, we're supposed to get bids.
And they were gonna open them immediately.
Yep.
Todd had mentioned the soil issues in previous reports.
Okay.
And so forth. And I don't know if there's been any, other action other than just Lynch putting together a new proposal for the bidding process.
I think we should probably.
We need a
We
time
need
to
to
when we're gonna
follow
get
up
that
Todd
back.
and get some information to the public, because I'm getting phone calls, like, what's going on,
And I do know that, Todd has gotten most of the signatures from the surrounding property owners that needed to be contacted and sign off on being able to put the alternative route across and things such as that. They weren't concerned about the shore enough, I don't think.
There was, he only needs one of our signatures for the agreement, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll get a hold of Todd.
All right, Chief Gurecki.
In the packet, the calls for service throughout the year is 8,176, and giving you the September numbers of 834, and then October we were at 873 calls for service. Through the end of October, 704 citations were issued, 127 ordinance violations have been issued, and 577 traffic citations issued. We've responded to 37 motor vehicle accidents, and that's it for the numbers. Also in the packet, requesting approval for a new laser speed unit. The cost of that unit is $2,185. We currently have a laser speed unit, however, it is a small unit that is meant to be utilized on a motorcycle. We don't have a motorcycle, nor am I asking for one, so I'd like to get an actual handheld laser speed unit, similar to that of a radar, and we do have a budget. It's accounted for in my budgeting, so.
So I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a new laser speed unit for $2,185 within budget. There's two of them?
The quote that I gave you, because I didn't have the quote for one, has two of them on there. I'm only asking for one, and the company has gotten me a new quote, I think, in my email for just one.
Same price.
Same price. It's the state price, without taxes.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have a new laser unit.
Two more items. Number one, the squad car that's sitting out front that we put up for auction. The dealership that was going to give us $5,000, thank God we didn't do that, because the ending bid was $12,322.
Sweet.
And I got notification while I was out, and Kim already has the check. Training and Standards has paid us back $3,840. So that's money into the town, and the train money is significantly more than what we even budgeted for. So positives on both sides.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Good news.
Finally some good news.
Yeah. All right, Planning Commission.
The planning commission met this month and had just one, conditional use request from Gary Dirks at, parcel PGRE 00006. He has one existing, solar ground panel and is looking to add another ground panel to generate electricity for their residential use. The size, when he combines the two panels, does exceed the current county residential limit of 12.4 kilowatts. However, I reached out to the county, and they said they have already had discussions, and the applicant was aware of this as well, of potentially increasing the residential limit, and the latest discussion was 100 kilowatts for residential. So with that in mind, the Planning Commission did approve, so I would make a motion to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve the conditional use request for PGRE 00006 at N8651 Stone School Road for the reasons referenced in the Planning Commission resolution.
Second.
One question, 100 kilowatt, is that on the ground, on a building?
It's on the ground. They're both on the ground, yep. And this one will actually be less visible from the road than the existing.
Okay, any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes.
The other topic that we discussed at the Planning Commission meeting in November was to move to one meeting per month as opposed to the two. And going from, in talking about this would give, that's generally been what's happening this year, is that we are generally able to come to a decision in one meeting. We have the option to have the person, if we need to do some research, to have the applicant come back at a second meeting, but then it is closed and there's no public comment or speaking aloud at the second meeting. And then we also have the challenge of the timing, right, with the town board meeting. If the plan, we've been meeting the first Wednesday of the month, and the Planning Commission is able to come to a decision that gives Jen, actually, we're giving her some grace by having her report, put together the resolution by Thursday, so that gives her like less than 24 hours to type up the resolution following the Planning Commission meeting, in order to get it on the town board meeting on the second Monday of the month. So what the Planning Commission decided after some discussion was we could have applicants turn in their paperwork by the first Wednesday of the month and have the meeting on the third Wednesday of the month to hear the case and make our decisions, and then that Jen could have it in time with all the rest of the packet materials for the meeting the second Monday of the following month. So then I would make a motion to approve the changes to the Planning Commission procedures and schedule and authorize Attorney Mills to draft the ordinance reflecting those changes.
Second.
The only thing I'll make a comment is, this was a recommendation from PAA, the report we had done, and so it was Chairman Cook and Clerk Olson took it up at the Planning Commission meeting this last time and then worked it through, and the whole group had, I think it was unanimous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really happy to see that they came up with this. Any other comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And then the last comment was, I would make a motion to increase the Planning Commission fee from $300 to $400 and authorize Attorney Mills to amend the ordinance as needed, as the fee, I believe, has been the same for multiple years. And this would make it competitive with other areas. That was my motion.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion?
Yeah, was that brought up at the meeting as well, or was everyone involved with that decision, or?
No, we'll call for sure that the commission actually talked about the fees.
But that
Or the
way-
town board, we've talked about the fees, yeah.
And that puts us in with other townships and stuff?
In the area.
In the area?
I think this was discussed at one of the workshops or something. There was discussion on.
Right, the budget workshop,
Budget workshop. So I think there was some internal discussion, not with a lot of external people. So we have a motion and a second, and any other discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we have a new fee. So then we'll move into 9B, I don't know where A went, but B1, 9B1. And I'm gonna let Supervisor Church take it.
Okay, after much discussion and study, it was apparent to me that we needed to at least put some definitions to the wake enhanced surf zones and put a distance of 500 feet from shore and 25 feet deep based on the testing and science that we saw done on Lake Beulah at the request of the board. And that in order for this to be most easily implemented and effective, we need to start action on that so that it will be ready to go for the May 2026 boating season. In the action, I asked the board to approve the wake and hand surfing zone ordinance. The town board would authorize the Lake Beulah Management District to draft and approve wake and hand surf zones on the lake. The town board would authorize the police chief to determine fines or fees. The town board would then authorize Attorney Mills to review those fees. And the final ordinance with violation fee schedule would receive final approval from the town board to be posted twice before officially enacted. The town board would authorize Attorney Mills to draft the wake and hand surf zone ordinance. We would direct the Lake Beulah Management District to establish baseline status using scientific and evidence-based data to determine the lake's current health status to be assessed at monthly intervals of June, July, and August, and reported on in joint public meetings with the town board. After the wake and hand surf zone ordinance has been completed by Attorney Mills, approved by the town board, and published accordingly, the town board would submit the ordinance to the DNR to allow the DNR time to review the ordinance with an expected timeline of 30 to 60 days. Once the wake and hand surf zone would be approved by the DNR or returned to the board for further modifications, the town board would host a hearing that would be held in accordance with Wisconsin State Statutes 30.77 sub 3 sub AW. This required step allows the public to weigh in, and that of the village of East Troy, which does have a minor portion of the riparian shoreline within the village of East Troy's jurisdiction. The town board would hire a new water patrol officer or officers with community service officers to be financially supplemented by $50,000 contribution from the Lake Beulah Management District. The town board would direct the Lake Beulah Management District to draft and approve maps and educational materials to be distributed at the East Troy Boat Launch during the 2026 season. The board would direct DPW superintendent to update the signs at the East Troy Boat Launch to be ready for the 2026 season. The boat launch would meet jointly with the Lake Beulah Management District at the end of June, July, and August in an open meeting to report the results of the benchmark testing on Lake Beulah. the town board and the Lake Beulah Management District would take action if necessary to adjust the ordinance at a joint meeting. I think it's necessary for us to follow the science and put the restrictions in at 500 feet from shore. At 200 feet, they have existed for a long time, and we've noted that does not equal all boats have the same wave. They do not. There is differences, and so that must be taken into consideration. So I put together this timeline and this action so that we could take response to the feedback that we've been given from the town constituents through emails, through public hearings, through public comments at town board meetings, and at least have a place to start.
Have we,
Sure, go right ahead.
have we seen a map? Because I'm sorry, I can't remember seeing a map of the areas at the 500-foot mark. Do we have that idea?
That has been shown to us at the public hearing, but no, we have not officially been given those maps, and that's why I asked the Lake Beulah Management District to spearhead that.
Anything else? I have some thoughts. Success must be defined by all stakeholders. We have just witnessed this last summer that LBMD was given a letter by the board at 6/23, June 23rd, and no buoys were put out. All right? There also has been over the last few decades, the buoys have not been put out at 200 feet. They've been all over the map on that lake. So the reason for asking for that to happen this past summer was to get a chance to see what happens at 200 feet. So at this point, any success criteria needs to be developed by everybody, and going into any ordinance, we need success criteria. And I think that's going to be extremely important, because we can do anything we want, and if we don't have agreed upon success criteria that we evaluate at the end, I think we're all wasting time. So that's just a couple of... the other thing is, if you remember back in June 9th, I put together creating local boating ordinances and placing waterway markers with all of the references. I think it's on the website. It is a 5-month process if we're going to go through the DNR. One of the things we found out in just talking with the DNR, I've been trying to work with Officer Runge, and through the DNR, there's a new contact at the DNR that is now taking on all approvals for any ordinances. So it's not going through the recreation board, and it's going through a specific person now that's been designated. So apparently, and I'm not quite sure, this is all late breaking news, I learned it on Friday. Apparently you need, in order to put an ordinance out and fine people or do anything, you need to anchor buoys to the bottom of the lake. I found it amazing to me that the DNR would be suggesting that. So that is why I guess I'm really struggling with, no matter how we go about this, I don't want to put anchors in the bottom of the lake. I mean, we're talking about not damaging the lake. Why would we do that? So the next thing you can do is you can do an advisory, which is suggestions, and you cannot, you can't impose fines, correct? It would just be advisory, and the police would go by and with their loudspeakers say, get into your zone or whatever, right? So the other thing, the last thing from my point of view, the reason why I presented something, and I'll explain a little bit more of what I was trying to do. I think it's been misinterpreted a little bit. 500 feet from shore does not get you to 25 feet of water everywhere throughout the lake. It's not. I think I've seen topographical maps of the lake, and there's places where you can go out quite a few hundred feet, I'm thinking even 500, and you're still in 10 feet of water. There's also bumps in between, channels in between lakes that, so they need to be communicated or marked, or, so there's a lot to this. I don't know that a fixed solution where my attempt was to establish a minimum depth with buoys. The one thing I will say I did, I got us off talking about just wake boats. We're talking about fish spawning beds and everything else. I just don't think this is a solution that's going to be effective. The other thing I would like to look at, looking forward, is 5 years from now, when I take this action, what can I hope to see? And by singling out a single boat without dealing with AIS and fish spawning and all these other things, are we really having an impact on the environment? All I heard at the public hearing was environment. Protect Lake Beulah. Protect Lake Beulah. And banning a boat does not protect Lake Beulah. I laid out the whole waterway thing. We were missing a complete AIS section. Quagga mussels are terrible. Starry stonewort, I don't want to see anywhere near our lakes. It's destroyed Muskego, Little Muskego, it's destroyed it. So there's a lot of factors to all this that's been presented through the public hearing and everything, and I just think there's more to the solution than this. That's all I have to say.
And I will say thank you to Chairman Jones for this in-depth analysis going through the existing ordinance and the 44 pages. Yes, it was overwhelming for most of us, but thank you for putting all that time into it, looking at the big picture. Personally, I like the idea of, like you said, expanding the scope, not just specifying lake and surf boats, motorboat activity. If we're concerned about the health of the lake, let's talk about the lake big picture. I think, I'm sorry that you were chastised during public comments, that now we're trying to act too fast. I feel like as a board, we can't win. I think we need a starting point, right? It's not like we're gonna vote on this and just put it into action tonight. It takes multiple meetings, but we have to start somewhere. So thank you for doing that. And I don't know if we actually then, because it's so comprehensive, if we need a subcommittee to look at it, with a time schedule to bring it back in order to meet the DNR timing, work with Attorney Mills, things like that.
Did
Joe?
Oh,
Can I be recognized?
Yes, sir.
I don't think you're at the point where you get to pick whose is better. We're still waiting on a second to Barb's motion.
Oh, that was a motion?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, there was.
I'm sorry.
It was
What she read was her motion, I
Okay, I'm
believe.
sorry. I didn't understand that.
I'll second.
Okay.
Now we discuss.
Yes.
Sure. Because mine will be second. I was just providing input to this. So, sorry, we didn't get a second. Go right ahead.
Oh, I'm good.
Oh, you don't have any more comments?
I have a few.
Go ahead.
In number 7, I would not draft, get town board approval, publish, and then get DNR acceptance. I would send the draft to the DNR first before the town board voted on it. And then
I'm unaware of the correct procedure, I'm sorry.
my only other comment is, even if you have current members at the Lake Beulah Management District who would be willing to draft maps and provide educational materials at the boat launch for next year, we don't really have the authority to direct them to do that. So even if you have current members that are willing to do it, I don't want to put it in an ordinance that can't be, if we can't enforce that section.
So any other comments for the motion?
I'm in favor of the zones. I think the 500 feet, I mean, I watched throughout this whole thing, I watched PLB's videos, and at 21 feet, I didn't see remotely anything happen to the bottom of the lake, and it was kind of funny that it wasn't shown at that meeting. That's why I questioned why didn't we see all the footage for everyone to see. So I don't know, with the 25-foot depth, that's a good depth. I mean, I watched with my own eyes at 20 feet, nothing's happening to the bottom. So the more you turn up the parameters, the more restricted they're going to be, and you're going to have a safety problem going on this lake if we do a 500-foot and a 25-foot depth. And then next year, maybe the new town board is going to sit here and say, oh, there's a safety problem with wake surfing boats. So it seems like the wording on this is almost a setup to say, oh, let's ban these boats. Where I think just putting zones in place like you proposed is a better solution than just saying a depth and 500 feet off the shore. Chief already said that it's pretty tough to enforce a violation in depths. So you're kind of putting his guys and him and his department in a tough situation too, and then that puts you in a tough situation. If someone comes in with a violation, how are you going to say, oh, they could come in and say, oh, I was at 25 feet, how do you know that? So I think it's just, put it into zones, and I think that would be a better solution to this than just saying a depth and a distance. So that's my opinion on it.
This would still be buoys at 500 feet, would it not?
Correct.
So you're still putting buoys all over the lake, which I heard a lot of comments about too.
What you were saying earlier about anchoring the buoys.
And we're going to do an ordinance. Did you want to say something?
I could explain that a little bit better for.
Aren't they anchored already?
No.
Aren't all buoys anchored?
The Deputy Chief Rumney spoke with this in person, and the way it was explained to Deputy Chief Rumney is, if you're going to have areas that are going to be enforced by ordinance, anchoring them to the lake means actually anchoring them to the lake. Driving cement pylons into the lake or whatever, divers would have to go down and secure those buoys. Because of the water depth, it can't just be on cinder blocks or a 5-gallon bucket, because those buoys can be moved. Those waypoints have to be marked. Those waypoints have to be part of the ordinance for it to be enforceable. So you're talking about permits to drill into the bottom of the lake to put cement, permit, and then you're going to have to probably have a special company to do that work. It became very apparent very quickly in discussion with the DNR person that fees and costs are almost prohibitive of that. And the warden or the person that you're talking to said, nobody in Wisconsin has ever done this where it's enforceable by law. They may have had ordinances in areas that they're doing it, but if push came to shove, unless you do it the way that it was described, those citations become null and void because those buoys can move. They're talking about the movement of the water up and down, 25 feet of water, how much weight would have to be on it. That's why the DNR requires them to be anchored to the floor of the lake. to be enforceable, and that every waypoint where the buoys are has to be part of the ordinance.
So it needs to
It
be.
becomes very cumbersome to do what the DNR wants you to do. They put, in my humblest of opinions, many roadblocks to do the things that you folks are discussing tonight. And that needs to be changed elsewhere. We can't change it in this room, unfortunately. There's space in Madison, Capital, those type of things. So that's the information that Deputy Chief Runge got. And as soon as he heard it, he gave me a call and explained to me and talked to Chairman Jones about it. I mean, just cost prohibitive in just a simple action of getting a company to drill into the lake, to do this type of work to anchor.
But they're also screwing up.
Sounds
counterintuitive. Or a big screw, it doesn't necessarily put an anchor to the bottom of the
It's
lake.
gonna force anything
Pretty
to force that. So it doesn't matter if you put them in at 200 feet, 500 feet. I just wanna make sure I understand all
I
this.
think that's true. So I'm sitting back going, we got a 200-foot buoy right now for slow no wake. We're not anchoring them to the bottom, but what's with our ordinance on that? I mean, they're very obtuse.
That's a good word.
It's
So is it just that you can't have fines?
You can't drive the stake in the ground, you can't say that he was.
Right, then you
off.
can't fine them, but.
You can't find it. You can do an advice.
So we're back to education and cooperation across the lake owners and boaters.
Do we want to vote on Barb's, we have a
We have
motion?
a
motion and a second, so, yeah.
So, any other discussion?
A moment, please, permission to be recognized.
Has to be a unanimous vote from the board.
No.
Thank you.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so that's what, full, do we need a roll call for that? Okay, John.
John, nay.
Reyes, nay.
Jones, nay.
Church, aye.
Leonard, nay.
All right. So let me explain what I was attempting to do here, and I wish I could have explained. You talk about having public comments before we go through this. I would have loved to have been able to explain this a little bit before all the public comments came up. What my mission is to change the discussion and to get people talking and come up with a solution. These were just thrown out because every one of these topics were brought up at the public hearing. They've been brought up by a lot of people, and we keep not paying attention to them. Rather, we want to focus on banning a boat or restricting a single boat with a specific feature from whatever. This is a concept. What we would be doing is we would be moving forward with a broad concept, and I did speak with Steve Huning, PLB. I spoke to him about this, and I said my objective was to get a piece of paper in front of 8 to 10 people from all different parts, have a discussion about that specific piece of paper. What can we do with this? What can't we do with it? And then hopefully come out of that room with a consensus as to what to implement. I have attempted to do a committee over the summer, and it was met with great disdain, so I backed off of that. I have continued to try and come up with, I have researched this quite a bit. I am not an expert. I even sat last week with Mr. McMurray over there on Friday, yeah. And just trying to discuss all these points and getting everybody in the room. I was not attempting. The idea here was if 20 feet, whatever, if 20 feet is the operative depth, you can't enforce the depth unless you have a buoy there, right? So if that's the operative depth to be able to do these things, then let's put the buoy there, that's going to define the zone. One thing, I would challenge anybody to go through all that waterway and come up with a perfect proposal. It wasn't intended to be perfect. It was intended to throw ideas out for people to then say, are we interested in trying to pursue this? I'm very happy if we vote right here and say, no, we're moving on. The attorney has basically told us until lawsuits are settled, we should probably do nothing.
That's not what I said.
Okay, I'm sorry. To not ban. Right, to not ban. Okay, I'm sorry. So, I'm throwing an idea out for people to look at, and it does say an approach. It does not say we're approving this ordinance. It's not intended to be that. The concept was if you establish zone 3 at the depth that's required for wake boating, it would be in the center of the lake. I already thought we needed to have a minimum acreage on it. There's a lot of factors that should be added to it. I did not think about how close depths get to shorelines. I didn't put all that in there. It needs to be discussed by a lot of people that know each lake and know wake boating and know other watercraft. I am not a wake boat expert. I'm doing my best to try and come up with some way to get two or three factions together to come up with something we can do in the short term to help. That's all I'm trying to do. And if it's not something we want to do, then we could, at this point, we could table this and not do anything, personally. We could say, I like a clean sheet of paper approach with some of these broad parameters. We can say, I don't want to deal with AIS right now, let's deal with just zones. I don't care what we're going to do, but this is my, I don't want to say final attempt, but it's my attempt at trying to bring this to a place while we still have time to put something past the DNR if it's going to have restrictions. So I did not intend on having buoys all over Potter Lake. I live on Potter Lake. I don't want buoys all over there. It just isn't, it didn't come across well. It's hard to come up with all of it thought through to the nth degree. So I apologize to everyone if it didn't come across right. I did put together this thing back in June that says exactly how much time it takes to get this done. It has the ordinances, it has the chapters, it has everything in it. It's on our website. So if you're looking to see what is required to get something past the DNR, it's already in that document. And we would have to have something moving forward by January if we hope to have it in May. That's the objective. So
I see in point 2, you broke it down into like 4 sections. Does it make sense to start with, you talked about maybe having Chief Garecki spearhead something. Could we just maybe start by focusing on your 16.35, the AIS, because it's new and I think everyone agrees that's required in our lakes, to come to some agreement and start there as phase 1?
I don't know anything, actually.
Is there other thought from the board if that's a section that would add value? I think everyone agrees in that, and we could start with that.
I don't plan to make a motion.
I will make a motion.
I'm going to let the board talk about it and discuss it.
Okay.
I like the idea of a subcommittee, Chief Garecki in charge, possibly get input from, like, with what you started here, because there were several different questions, and I had a few myself, but they were covered. And maybe work it that way with people who have more experience in this area.
definitely needs other experience.
Right.
It's not coming from the board.
Yep, no, I understand where you started here, I get it, but I definitely think there's no way to, make any kind of decision tonight, but I would like to see some sort of subcommittee be put together.
That would be something we'd have to do at the next meeting, right? We can't do that here?
Correct.
Yeah.
But I would like to make a motion to authorize Chief Gurecki to spearhead Chapter 16.35 Aquatic Invasive Species Town Ordinance and provide a recommendation to the town board by the January meeting.
Second.
That is in section 2.D.
2D.
And section 3. Yeah. Section 3.
Yeah, I think it was partly, it says moving forward to approve. It doesn't have to be all four at once.
So we have a first and a second. Any comments on this? I guess my comment would be if we're trying to head to a committee, is this appropriate, or do we
Wait, right, till next meeting to vote on that?
I mean,
A committee, and we would have to wait.
so do you, so
Your motion says having Chief Gurecki.
I know,
look into
and
it,
we
yeah.
could.
Have we heard from Chief Gurecki on this?
I did speak with him before I put his name in here, absolutely. Chief Gurecki, do you want to?
I gave you an extra month in the motion.
Yeah, whatever the board needs me to do,
To just focus on AIS.
Yep, and I circled that on my agenda, so that is where the focus will be.
Do you need a committee to do this, or would you take it on and bring the people in that you need, and how would that work?
That is up to the board. If the board wants a committee, I mean, happy to work with the committee, or just happy to do the research and bring in recommendations from the research to the board and go forward that way. If you do committee, it does, no offense to anybody in the room, committees do slow things down a little bit. So timelines, if you just set a person free to do the research, do the digging, and they do proper and have their, sources,
Documented.
document their sources where they got their information, you can move a little quicker.
Okay.
That is the only thing that I have, but I have no problem either way with what the board decides.
Supervisor Leonard?
Yes.
Is it okay? Where are you on the sheet?
Michelle made that,
I know that, but I'm asking because we're in.
I like it, I like what Chief said
Okay.
about the AIS.
Okay, and then we realized, okay, let's vote on this and then I'll have.
Who's second?
I did.
Okay.
Is there further discussion?
I don't know, anything more?
I think we need to do something versus nothing, but I think there are other issues that should come first, but.
Well, we're not tackling the main
I get it.
discussion points, that's the one thing that, anyway, any other discussion on the motion and the second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so we'll do something with Chief Gurecki on this. And before we leave it, any other thoughts? Do we want to do something more here or leave it at the AIS at this point?
Well, I would like to make sure that a subcommittee is put on the agenda for next meeting. In order to get this going here. I agree with Supervisor Church, this, I'm glad that this was brought up. I just think that we have to do something, I understand. But what was proposed, think there's gonna be fixed a little bit here and
It
there.
has to be, fixed, yeah.
Well, do you wanna also authorize them to look into the buoys, because that's the big thing that is kind of stopping any enforcement?
Sounds like they already did.
Sounds like you did.
Is there any more to look at? or-
No.
I don't think that's gonna take us anywhere.
If I could just say one thing, it's that we are willing to join the committee. ELD is happy to join the other stakeholders and try to solve this. If either one of these works tonight, we are willing to meet in the middle and come.
We haven't noticed that.
Okay.
Right, we can call for
Yeah.
members next month.
Yeah, next
So,
month.
subcommittee next month.
And that's really only in, what, 3 weeks?
3 weeks, but
December 8th.
And just so everybody understands, if we're talking about a restriction ordinance that has to go to the DNR, we're gonna miss that window as soon as January goes. We're not gonna have anything for May in that case, so if there's restrictions, if we do an advisory on some agreement, that's just recommendations, it's not enforceable necessarily. The police can be out there and like Chief Runge, the Deputy Chief Runge said, I can get on the PA and I can tell people, get back in your zone or something, but it's not, there's nothing he can do really to enforce it. No. So that's the only thing I'll leave, I'll put
Right,
this
per the
subcommittee.
DNR, our name of the day.
Okay, so, this got put on the agenda. C is for amending section 162530 of the town code, boat launch fees, was, I think that was Chief Gurecki and yourself. There's some action we needed to do here. I threw it in my notes saying, is there any progress on that we wanted on the agenda?
I thought I had put a draft together, and then I had heard that the chief wants to go to the maximum amount allowed on certain
Right.
issues, which I did not have included in my first draft.
Right.
So we can put it on for next month. We'll have the final draft.
And did you have some?
I was just gonna say that I believe the chief was waiting to hear back from the kiosk company about where the charges fall. Because for my research, it was out of the portion, and he was thinking that it was, like, the user would pay 115, and the town would get 110. And the research I did is, the user would pay 110, and then the town would get like 105. I'm totally making up numbers, but I believe.
For
the
annual
chief-
pass.
Yeah, and I believe the chief was waiting to hear back from the kiosk company how that works.
But the bottom line is the DNR limits how high they can go with those fees, so it doesn't matter what the kiosk company is gonna charge anybody. We can only go to a certain height for
Yeah,
every.
but revenue for the town, that was my concern.
Oh, okay. So, I'll just table it. So now Supervisor Church, 10A.
I put forth, after you challenged the park committee to
Yes.
contribute.
I'm sorry. Barb, can I interrupt for a second? I'm going to make a motion to table it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to table discussion possible action regarding finalizing and updating ordinance 2025-9.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, so we'll table it. I know the other thing is that ordinance, I was proposing that we just pull that out and not have to update the ordinance every time we update it. It'd be nice to just say it'll get updated and posted or something. But anyway, that's for another discussion. It is your floor here.
Okay, I submitted a proposal after our second budget workshop. The town park committee was charged with contributing $1,000 to the town's general fund. In order to do that, we have been experiencing rising costs in maintenance but wanting to maintain our current level of service. The town has not previously charged anyone for use of any park facility, and implementation of nominal fees will help the town park provide services and maintain its facilities to the town park users. So the purpose of my proposal was to amend Special Events, Chapter 12.65, by amending the fees for users of the park. And that includes people who rent the park facilities out for events. We have both residents and non-residents to consider, so there were fees attached to those. I believe it was $30 for residents and $50 for non-residents. We also have the East Troy Soccer Association, who uses the Jim Burns Memorial Park soccer fields for spring and fall. We would charge them $100 for their seasons, annual, not a season fee, but an annual fee. And the East Troy Electric Railroad uses the park 4 times for the Halloween. They advertise pizza in the park in the summer. I don't know if they fill the train for that or not. I just know it was advertised in their booklet. I would charge a entity like that who regularly uses the town facilities, which involve maintenance of the park fields. It includes the park landscaping, the cutting the grass, mowing the lawn, emptying the sanitation, putting up decorations, taking down decorations, purchasing decorations, and any other storm damage that we come across. All of that needs to be done. So $500 for an entity like the East Troy Electric Railroad, who brings in a lot of people who may not necessarily be town residents.
Don't forget the porta pot.
That was sanitation, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Come on. Come on.
And I included in this proposal the letters to both the railroad and the soccer association in order to be approved. So I'd like to make a motion that we update the usage fees to $30 for residents, $50 for non-residents, $100 a year for athletic fields, and $500 for regular usage of the gazebo. And I would mail out those letters upon approval from the town board.
Second.
Any other discussion?
I just have one question on $100 season for this. Is that like per
Annual.
team, or is that like for the whole soccer?
There's an association, and they check out the fields, and it would be for both their spring and fall season, because it's
Cool.
It's not a regular usage type thing.
Any other comments? Thoughts? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We sent out the letters.
All right, the second thing is to authorize Attorney Mills to update ordinance 12.65.010, which is the special events permit or fee ordinance.
Why don't you, Barb, can I have you amend, was it seconded already?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I want the motion to just be update chapter 12, because I believe it's 12.65090 that deals with the fee section.
I will withdraw my motion. Will you withdraw your second?
I will withdraw my second.
I will ask that we authorize Attorney Mills to amend or update chapter 12.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so Attorney Mills will update chapter 12 of 1265.010, and now you have one more item.
I do. The next was a proposal that I crafted after visiting a location that had a giant bench that you actually had to climb a ladder to get on top of, but it overlooked an agricultural field, and I thought, boy, if we had a giant oversized Adirondack chairs that sort of face the East Troy Electric Railroad, we could not only, cross market by having people want to get off the train and climb onto the giant Adirondack chair and take pictures, but those pictures would be published on Facebook or Instagram or wherever people had the ability to do so. And I started thinking, how could I make this really affordable? Because when I priced out the timber top chairs, they were like $1,000 or more. And so I thought, let me go talk to the East Troy High School woodworking class, and I talked to Mr. Hoff, and he was really excited because I showed up with plans on how to build this chair, and he took a look at it, and we made sure it was okay with administration, that they approved it. But Mr. Hoff priced it out and found that he could probably do it for $500 or less. And I have an ability to make this happen even if the town board chooses not to allow me to expend funds. We can make that happen still. But the high school woodworking class will build the chairs starting as soon as I give the go-ahead, because they've got the wood priced out with East Troy Lumber, who gave them a great deal, beat Home Depot by a mile. And they are planning on having it done by the spring, if that's okay. And the Fab Lab will do a header which has the East Troy town logo on each side, and says Jim Burns Memorial Park in the middle. And then there'll be a plaque on the front of the seat that says built and donated by the East Troy High School Woodworking and Fab Labs. So I would like permission to proceed.
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure of town park funds to cover the cost of materials to the East Troy High School for its woodworking and Fab Labs to construct a giant Adirondack chair for use at the Jim Burns Memorial Park.
Not to exceed $500.
Not to exceed $500.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks, Barb.
Adirondack.
These are really Adirondack, Wisconsin.
All right, we'll try and keep it moving here. The next one on the list, we have a social media policy, and one of the things that I don't think we do well enough is publicize our accomplishments as a board. So one of the things I was hoping to do when I came in was quarterly put some kind of accomplishments up on the website. I didn't get to it the first quarter, so now October was 6 months in, and so I put a memo in here to explain what we're talking about. I got 2 pages that I wrote up. It's all based on minutes or public documents, nothing confidential, it's all in the public facing. But just to try and bring it all in one place, and then it would be worked up onto the website in some fashion to promote the town. So the motion would be, I guess I'll make a motion to start with. The motion will be to authorize the chairman to, actually we can authorize more than the chairman too, I suppose, but at least the chairman to publish periodic updates to our constituents about town accomplishments, major projects, explaining important activities going forward, and seeking board approval where deemed appropriate.
Second.
Okay, any comments?
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Do we even need to make a motion? Because I thought that that doesn't fall under our social media policy, because it has to go through it comes to the town hall anyhow, right? And that's what it was, that's originally what was said, is if it goes through the town hall anyways, it's okay, right? Isn't that what we originally discussed?
It was sufficiently muddy that I thought it worth bringing up here. I don't want to do something that's out of line, so.
So it would be the chairman and the social media.
It would be, I mean, I
Yeah.
can't do that alone,
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
So
it doesn't hurt to. There's a motion out there, right?
Yeah, I think, was.
Joe.
Okay.
Both JJ's.
Seconded, yeah, okay. Any other comments or thoughts?
No, I just, okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it passes. The next item on the list is, we have discovered some financial issues that we're dealing with this year and will be brought to light at the budget hearing next Monday. Hopefully I'll be able to put up some charts and stuff that will explain where we've been and what we're facing. And so with some of that, I wanted to say we should at least go out and find. And I'm told we do not have to get like 3 bids to do office work or whatever. Maybe that's wrong, but.
Service contracts, so you're okay.
Civil service? Yeah, okay. So then we can just go to Elders or whoever. I sat through a 2-hour session, a Zoom session on the web that they put on. And they do a pretty nice job. And then I did throw the proposal that, what'd you say? I threw the proposal in from Elders in the back to kind of just give you an idea of what this would look like for just doing budget support, but with our discussion of possibly seeking approval to go to referendum in the spring to cover a public safety, I thought it would be worth maybe getting some help in that area as well. So that was the reason for asking only to send out an RFQ and get some input.
So we wouldn't be acting on it?
We would not be acting on it. We would come back to the board for any action. It is an unbudgeted thing if we did get it. But again, we're facing a few things that might be important to have. So at this point, what's the general input before we even get to a motion?
Would you be asking them like, sort of like a multi, like a 3-year, like we have to write a scope, right, if we're gonna do an RFQ, so, and you have some of the things here, this is gonna be multi-year planning?
No, I was thinking this would be a one-time, and one of the things.
Well, I mean, that how they would help us, because right now we do year-over-year budget, and we talked about like a 5-year budget. And so will that be part of the scope of this, how to build out?
It can be anything we want it to. I'm thinking, since it's unbudgeted, we can ask for a multi-year, but we probably should see what it costs for a single year. I tried to break down the proposal that was given in my memo so that you understood. I think where this is going to just go for budget support, I think it'll be in the $4 to $5 grand range. I don't know if discussions on referendum, if there's help that they can provide there, we'll find out. Also, if there's a few in our levy worksheet that we send in every year, it's pretty much self-populated by the government. But there's a few areas down below that it would be nice to explore. There's a resolution that we can put out for emergency or for fire in there. I don't know exactly what that means, but there was just a few. That was another Zoom call I sent in just to understand. So I mean, there's some, just general broad explanation and support on some of this, but I'm gonna let you guys decide whether you want me to do an RFQ or not. I'm not even gonna make the motion.
Well, I mean, if I could speak.
Yes, absolutely.
We had Baker Tilly come in and help us at a budget workshop, and they're our auditors. Is it?
Wasn't very helpful for me, not at all.
Okay, well, I thought it was helpful, I'm sorry.
There's-
But I also think that I saw in Ayler's proposal with the village, they do 3 workshops, and you were thinking of having them only do 1 with us, and we're not experienced, why just 1?
On page memo, it shows workshop 1 and 2 with a final report 4, right? So that's my proposal was, we're probably gonna be in that range. I can't speak for them, but that would be the idea. Again, it's an RFQ. If we don't wanna do it, I'm good. I wanted to bring it to the board, that's all.
I mean, obviously, in RFQ, there's no cost to the town. It kind of tells us what we don't know, if we can write the scope properly of the RFQ. Like the PAA, they gave us a whole list of recommendations of what we can do. If this can generate that and we can put together a long-term plan right now, it's really no cost to us. So I guess, I don't know if you want help in writing the scope or.
I think it would be definitely helpful.
But I guess then I would make a motion to authorize Chairman Jones to request a quote from Ehlers, Baker Tilly, or any other appropriately qualified organization for professional services to support structural revenue deficit analysis in the budget process.
Second.
Any other discussion?
I would just like to see us get more than 1 and see what more than 1 financial planner has suggested.
We identify at least 2, yep, in the motion.
I heard that and I appreciate that, but I just want to make sure it's not limited to 1, so.
No, I think there's gonna be a lot of work on what the scope is gonna be, and this was just a starting point. So, okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, pass. The next item is to appoint a part-time administrator. This was a recommendation by PAA. Right now, the town board has to deal with multiple employees in the town. I did a pretty exhaustive look at responsibilities and let me grab this. I don't have it. Did a pretty exhaustive review of responsibilities, and we're not cross-training in the town. We're not level loading things. I think I need some support. Right now, I have to deal with all of it, and I need someone that can take the lead. PAA made the suggestion to put a part-time administrator in place so that there's a single point of focus at the town hall. I asked both Clerk Olson and Chief Gurecki if they would do this for the rest of this year with no compensation. So there's no cost to the town to do this implementation. It gives us a good opportunity to sit for 5 to 6 weeks and see how it works, what benefits we can yield, and then come back at it in January and then relook at it at that point. Yes.
I'm going to suggest that if you get approval to do this, that we do a quick amendment to their scope of duties.
on the contracts that we're going to be extending.
Okay.
Well, actually, we wouldn't have to. Not on the ones that we're extending, just for the one that goes through the end of this year.
Oh, man, this year. Okay. I didn't think of this year, you're right. All right, well, anyway, that's my pitch on this. I don't need to go through an extensive amount. Any other comments before we?
Yeah, one question that was brought to my attention. So Jen is just admin only, right? She's not going to be, if Chief's not around, she's not gonna be the point of contact?
No.
Correct?
What she is there for, what I didn't want to see happen was if the chief needs support of any kind, who does he go to? And then I didn't want that whole distraction. So I said, let's pick somebody. And I thought with the planning commission being organized where it is right now, she might have a little more capacity. And if we need some help, we could do something hourly into the 26th if we need to support her.
I just want to make sure that everybody, that it's somehow everyone knows that she's not the point of contact if the chief is not here. She's admin only.
Right, right. That was the intent, yes, we talked about it. So, I guess I'll make the motion to approve Chief Durecki to the part-time administrator appointment and Clerk Olson to part-time administrator support to the administrator through 12/31 with no additional compensation.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I don't like that that's being done without compensation. I find that not really fair.
Any other discussion? All right.
My understanding, they agreed without compensation.
They did. I did have conversations.
I understand, but short term like that.
Yeah, it's only through December 31st, right?
And knowing some financial stress that we're dealing with, I think it was nice of them to step up, actually.
I appreciate that.
I look at it that way. So, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. So, do I need to, Attorney Mills, do we need to update the appointment resolution at this point or not with this?
I would. You are appointing them. It's an official town act.
Right, okay. So that would be,
I make a motion to update the 2025 appointment resolution with these two part-time positions.
and that's 2.25 dash, or .010, correct?
That's
Oh,
what's
no,
on your
it's 25 dash.
agenda. For your.
It's just.
I'll second, since it's out there, while we can discuss them.
That's the word.
I don't remember the number, yes?
The appointment resolution is separate from the ordinances.
Yeah, I
So
figured-
I do the appointment resolution, I'll give it a new number because it's a new version.
Right, it'll be a 25 dash whatever, yes.
Exactly.
I was trying to remember the old number. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Should we, for 5 weeks, update sections 225, 10, 30, and some of these other areas, or should we just leave it where it is right now, and if we decide in January to put this in place permanent, then update them there? I guess I'm asking the board. I think it's a lot of expense to go through all that.
I think since they're temporary and not being paid, I wouldn't
update them.
I agree.
Just leave it alone. Are you okay with that?
So then are they still able to participate? Is the agenda preparation, and it's
No.
still gonna remain with the clerk?
Clerk, chairperson, and myself.
But isn't that by state statute?
Yeah, but the administrator's part of that.
They can give whatever they want to you, just like everyone else can, but they're not going to be able to mandate that it go on,
Mandate.
like the board members can. What goes on an agenda? Is that what we're talking about, putting the agendas
Agenda
together?
preparation.
No, the way this was intended was to be the single point of contact between the board and the town. Yes, the clerk would still do the agenda, but any communications would go to the administrator. That's what the PAA thing explained. And I did put an administrator rough.
I don't know, their recommendations, I get, were never shared with me.
They're in the book, the report they did.
I didn't get one.
From PAA?
I watched it online just to see what they were telling you guys.
Okay.
Okay, that'd be helpful.
All right, so it sounds like right now we're gonna table any updates to the.
So tabling the ordinances does not remove any authority. I mean, what I'm hoping here is we're gonna work with everybody, and we're gonna start moving towards spreading some responsibilities around and getting things accomplished.
It would, no, I don't think it's going to prohibit agenda preparation. It's just either the chief will report to you, Kim, or me, what employees would like the board to discuss.
You're talking agenda prep yet.
I am, what are you talking
I'm
about?
just talking about general duties and responsibilities. I know the agenda's gonna go with the clerk yet. That was never in question. The issue is if there's a single point of contact between the board and the town. That was the main objective with this, so that we don't have to deal with a bunch of people. But
I don't understand, so if I have a question, I can't go to Jean or Kim, I have to go to Alan?
you can, but
Okay.
I, right now, as the chairman, am trying to manage all of this, and it was recommended to have a single point of contact, and I personally agree that that would be extremely helpful for me.
I wasn't understanding, I'm sorry.
So, that was where we're at, so what's the, I guess I'm not understanding the question here.
Isn't that single point of contact still going to have to discuss those issues with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the single point of town. Okay.
And then, like you're saying, the employees go to the administrator as well.
Right.
Yes. I mean, I understand what you're attempting to do here, but I'm not sure if it's going to take that much off of your plate, or as much as maybe you would like.
I guess I was hoping. So, yes, ma'am.
No, it was what Jim was just clarifying.
Oh, okay.
That you would talk to the administrator would talk to whoever, whatever staff member,
Correct.
information from and report back to you.
And that doesn't mean I'm probably not gonna have to do some conversation. It's just I don't have to do all the physical prep. I'm actually doing documents and stuff because I just don't think people understand where I'm coming from, so I'm doing it myself. I'd like to have somebody that I can actually dialogue with that can help me get some of these things, these new ideas, budget issues, and everything.
Well, that's what your board is for, too. You know, to help assist you in preparation of some of this stuff.
And I've got 3 board members that have full-time jobs that are not 40 hours a
Understood.
week.
Yeah.
It's challenging. I get some, I know I tapped
Leonard.
Supervisor Leonard, yeah. I keep wanting to say Tyson, but. All right, so we'll leave these ordinances alone. Do we need a motion to table?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion to table E10E3, which is to authorize Attorney Mills to update sections 22510, 030, 040, 050, and 060.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, so we'll table that. I think
take this?
the next one's yours.
I just noticed that we had gotten the package box out in front, but now I understand it's not for the post office. We talked about that the post office will now allow us to get a post office box here.
So we discovered that we are at N9330 East Troy. It was East Troy, then it was Mukwonago, now it's back to East Troy. So there was a PO box to avoid confusion for residents.
Right.
That it be the post office box, 872 East Troy, Wisconsin. However, there has been difficulty sometimes getting packages delivered to the physical address that they can mail it to the post office. And now that we know that the physical address is also East Troy, it's believed that that will create less confusion for the residents. And we'd like to go back to having it on site.
Yeah, so I think maybe you started looking, obviously you started looking into that, and I just wanted to make sure that that stays on the radar, so I wanted to authorize Deputy Clerk Treasurer Loth to proceed with gathering the quotes and the timeline and a project plan to install a PO box at the property here of the town.
Second.
All right, one thing, I did do some checking, I've been coming to town meetings for 3 years. I did some checking that even if it's a Mukwonago address, you can have it forwarded to Mukwonago and the postmaster there would deliver it, if we wanted to. So, if it changes in the future, you know what I mean? So, any other comment? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, so we're looking into a mailbox. Next one.
Then the other thing, I know sometimes the treasurer reports are delayed waiting on the bank accounts and things like that. And I just think it would be expedited if we had electronic banking on all the accounts. So that was what I wanted to follow up on.
Yes, ma'am.
The LGNP accounts are only electronic banking, and they're not sent out till the 7th of each month. So any way you look at it, it's still the 7th of each month.
And yeah, I guess.
And there's no way to get it any earlier.
Okay. So, but I think generally electronic banking, right, is the standard today, so you can get the statements online rather than waiting for the mail. So I just wanted to have you look into that to make sure that we have all of our banking online to streamline the process. Is there
What?
concerns about that, or what, I mean, is there a reason we have paper statements on some of the accounts and not
We
others,
have
or?
to have paper statements no matter what for our audit. There's either I get them in the mail or I have to print them, either way.
Available to print for the audit, right?
No, they have to be printed each month because they go away. If you can't go back and print 3 months ago, that bank statement is like on point.
I
Does that
can.
make sense?
I can print a year ago, 2 years
Well,
ago.
it lets me go back and print history, but it doesn't let me go back and print the statement itself. And there's a difference.
Mine does.
I have a whole page of all my statements online. But I'm not at First Citizens Bank. I'm at Citizens Bank. So So I think it's something we should look into and make it easier. So I'll make a motion to authorize Clerk Treasurer Buchanan to activate electronic banking on all town accounts.
Second.
Any other comments?
Gene, did you have stuff?
Wait, let me make sure I understand what we're doing here. Are we asking her to put everything into electronic then? Or are we asking her to look into it, because that,
To look into it.
Yeah.
okay, well, that's not how I understood the motion.
But it's not how it's printed.
Okay.
I think you just read it right off the
Yeah.
agenda.
So I will amend my motion to authorize Clerk Buchanan to research electronic banking on all town accounts.
Second.
Okay, any comments, questions? One of the things that I would like to bring up on this is, I'm not sure how it's going to impact, but one of the things that has not been readily available is reasonable monthly budget reports that allow us to show where we're going, because we're always a month late because we didn't get a paper copy of a report. So that's what I've heard numerous times when I bring it up. I was even in the public asking for reports. And I can't do it because I don't get my report, so I can't put it out until a month later or whatever. I just know that from the point of view of trying to manage the budget in the town, we need up-to-date, quick information. And I have a hard time believing electronically it wouldn't be coming quicker than a piece of paper in the mail. So that's the only additional comment I would make. Any other comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So now we're to the attorney.
Yes, the first item is the amended resolution regarding snowplow charges. This was initially passed, I believe, back in May. We now have in the therefore section an updated charge that would be for this year. It was approved already. Okay. So this resolution, I guess, simply ratifies whatever oral motion was made and approved last month.
Right. The contract that you put in here, at least it was in the packet.
Yes.
That is for November 15, 2026.
Yeah, I was going to say, I circled that.
Yeah.
This would have to change.
This is not applied this year. This is still, Deputy Clerk Loaf and I are going to be going out trying to get majority of signatures on this so that we can put this to bed permanent forever and not have questions on it. So anyway, that's just there for record. All right.
Yes, I guess I wasn't sure whether it was going out. No. We can't approve this resolution as drafted because it was updated to state a snowplow agreement has been mailed.
Oh.
So maybe we didn't have to update at all since this contract never went out this year.
Right, didn't we approve the resolution? So we can just take,
We don't have to take any action on
any
this.
action on this.
Okay.
It's just superfluous.
Yep.
As you might say. All right.
Superfluous.
That's
a word.
As I read through this, I know that it was discussed at length last month. Item 6, and you know, did amend it.
Yep.
However, as I read it, I
that we would discontinue it on all private roads. I don't know if the board wants to consider that if we don't get a simple majority as properties change hands and so forth at some point, I don't know if that even has to be considered. Would we then look at independent majorities on roads? I don't know if that needs to be considered, or if there's a way to do that, or if it would even impact the way it's overall written, Attorney Knowles.
Can I make a comment? I'm assuming we made it the majority on total to make it easier to achieve.
Yes,
Yes,
we did.
But then,
Oh.
if properties changed hands, I know that we put that into a special assessment letter when a tax company reaches out to us, we put that there's this charge. Would that suffice then as them purchasing the home and seeing that special assessment letter?
Would we attach the contract as well? then?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the special assessment, yeah.
I just want to make sure we don't end up with always simple majority and then some roads that wouldn't have done it. That's all I was sure.
No, we just totaled the number of households. We just need a majority of that number to continue our practice.
And are we changing this letter so that, because it said the November 15th date?
Well, that's for the 26th.
Yeah.
That's for next year.
Okay.
That's why we just said, that's wrong. When I
Okay.
read this, it was not good. No, this was just because I had one citizen pounding on me about this. And so we put this plan together, and then Deputy Clerk Loth and I were going to try and get out to those roads, and I think I got a guy over here that's gonna help me with some of that too, right? So we'll move on to the next order.
We have to table that, right?
Do we have to table it, or?
No, we're just not taking any action on it.
Okay.
The next item is the establishing a fire protection fee and written fee schedule and/or any amendments. This is the second meeting, and it's a new ordinance, so it doesn't have to be read unless anyone wants to make any tweaks to it. Now's your chance.
No, we had public comments on this. What I don't think everybody understands, what's very hard in these seats right here is to proactively, transparently communicate before we even know what's going on. And this budget season was quite eye-opening, I think, for all of us. And it was late-breaking, and we have some financial challenges we need to tackle, and I plan to discuss them next Monday at the budget hearing. So one way, we've been borrowing. I probably do have my list. We are borrowing to the tune of our debt right now is $5.5 million, and 4 years ago it was $2 million. So we're 5.5 from 2 over 4 years, and it's a incline. We need to control that. We need to get that under control. It's going to be a multi-year solution, and this is one way we're trying to take some of the loan value that would be otherwise borrowed and add to this $5.5 million. This is one way to let the citizens participate in that, and then we'll be talking about what we do next year with all the citizens. So that's why we were.
In order to balance the budget, we had to make some assumptions that this would pass.
Right, and so it's subject to, we can have discussions next Monday, that's what the purpose of it is. Yes, ma'am?
Was any of this shared with the fire department, the fire district?
It's budget related.
It's not a budget. It's not.
They told us what they need from us, and we have to solve how to meet that budget.
True.
I actually talked to Chief and told him that the idea was presented. But it doesn't have anything to do with them, it has to do with us as a town. It's the same thing, someone else brought it up, I'm another citizen, I think. It has nothing to do with the district, it has to do with the township.
One of the capital items is, our part of a ladder truck is $940,000, $949,000. $994, $1 million. We're on the hook for $1 million in '26. That's all loan if we don't do something. So with this, we're going to pay down some of that. Do we need to have a motion for this? Are you?
Well, yeah, the order, you guys still have to vote on the ordinance
Okay.
as the town board.
Yes, sir.
Well, if we vote on this tonight, then, because you just said something about discussing it on Monday. If we vote on this tonight, then it's done, correct?
It is, but the budget on Monday is based on this, so.
Gotcha.
And that's been published, and so, we can have discussions, but it's really hard to put this all together. And it also helped us balance the budget.
No, I understand, I'm just.
And we said at the budget hearing, the
Why
town
sure.
residents approved the levy.
They approved the levy, right, but the board is
Not
responsible.
necessarily the budget net number.
That's the other thing that I don't think was widely understood under past administrations, is the board is responsible for the budget. Not the clerk, not the town hall, not the attorney, the board is responsible. So when we sign up to this budget next Monday, it's on us. And so I have said, I will not sign up to things that I think are fiscally questionable unless I have the full public engaged and understand. That's just the way it is. So we're going to go through that on Monday, and I would recommend one of the things for my 2-page notes that I was trying to get approval for, in the back of that is come to the budget hearing. So, do we want to?
I'll make
Go ahead.
an approval, I make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-10, establishing a fire protection fee and written fee schedule. Do I have to say annual amendment? What was that?
No, that's fine,
Yeah.
because
Second.
it doesn't amend anything.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Me.
Joe Johnson.
Okay. The next item is approving the contract with MSB. I sent the board a marked up copy last week.
Yep.
With a one-page summary of my recommendations. I mean, you're not gonna be able to change some of them. Like the provision that this corporation has in all of their contracts is that the terms are governed by the laws of the state of Texas. I don't think they're going to create a new contract for every state to do business in.
No.
Some do. But I know they will, but that might be something you want to ask them about.
And who is taking the lead at the town for this contract? Is that you, Clerk Buchanan, or which?
Jen?
There are 3 of us we're going to
Okay.
work together.
So
And I
then,
think I heard at one of our meetings, I just want to thank Court Clerk Olson for the negotiating that she did on some of the fees, as far as getting some terminals free and some annual fees waived.
no, absolutely, I agree. But these points, and what he sent over was highlighted, so there was a lot of stuff highlighted in there. Is that the only piece that you were pointing at, or?
Everything that was highlighted was summarized on this one-page sheet with a page number and paragraph number.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so
that's it, just this one page.
Okay.
So we have to have someone go back to MSB with those changes. At least see if they'll.
I would suggest that you do that.
Have a red line, send it back to them.
Yep.
I think that's work with Olson, that's going to do the majority of communication with them as a chief.
Okay, so she can,
Continue that before.
and did she see these notes, or?
No, I didn't include her on the board email.
The only thing this will do is, depending how fast we get this in, it's probably gonna impact our ability to take it.
I'm sorry, she was included on this email.
Okay. So I'm not sure if she's going back or not yet, but, anyway, so should we have a motion to, approve the, I guess authorize the town to finalize the contract? Is that what we would do here?
We have authorized Olson to,
I'll make a motion to authorize Court Clerk Olson, to negotiate the MSB contract based on Attorney Mills' recommendations, in order to move forward and sign the agreement.
Is it possible that that can be done this week, so you can add a separate,
Special meeting?
onto the budget hearing?
Or agenda?
To get, if you want to do tax collection, I mean, I'm not sure how fast you can get this done.
I would, it wouldn't take that long. I'll send it back.
With regard to tax collection, maybe you can't take it from the first week of collection, but maybe the second week
That's
of
true.
collection.
We're meeting on the 8th, which is whenever the bill's going out.
Usually go around the 15th of the month.
Right, so.
There is a sense of urgency, that's all. So then, are we not only approving her to do this, then is it gonna come back here for approval?
Yeah, to approve the final form.
To sign it. That's why you wanted to do it by next week.
Yeah.
So I have a motion on.
with your motion, do we need to add that the changes be authorized or recognized by MSB?
Well, she's got to work with MSB to make the changes as to them.
Okay,
and then bring it back.
Work with Attorney Mills,
Right.
like, hey, we're going to do this, what's your thought on that?
Right.
Just wanted it
So
clarified,
maybe
that's
adding
sorry.
that.
My guess is they should be willing to go with half of the recommendations. Some I know they're not going to change.
Right.
So then really for next Monday, if they could do that this week,
We can
then
approve it.
we could do a quick little meeting before the budget hearings.
But I'm sure Clerk Olson is watching and she'll know the time that we're talking about.
Right. Okay, so we have a first and a second. Any other?
Do we have a second?
Yeah.
I thought we did.
Yeah, I said.
I said,
Oh, we got 3 seconds.
I'm way down here.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes.
The next, I just can't include under attorney report, it's a resolution amending the 2025 budget. It's up to you, who do you want to read it? Can't remember myself.
Okay, is this, Clerk Buchanan, do you want to go through it, or? Yeah.
I thought we don't need to read them anymore.
That was a change to a new ordinance.
Not a resolution.
Correct.
Okay.
Read faster than Jim.
Please.
Resolution 2025-11, resolution amending the 2025 budget for the town of East York. Whereas the town of East York Town Board has agreed upon a 2025 budget, and whereas it is necessary for the town to adjust the amount of funds borrowed in 2025 to meet budgeted expenses and to address changes in capital expenses required. whereas $1,673,829 was borrowed to meet the 2025 budget expenses in Resolution 2025-7, whereas the town of East Troy is exempted from the publication of a Class 1 notice of changes to an annual budget under Wisconsin statute section 65.90 sub 5 sub 8. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board amends the 2025 budget as follows. Revenue increases and decreases. Increase from designated funds increased by $15,650.25 employee retirement payout. The decrease, loan amount decreased by $347,242.07. From designated funds decreased by $20,000 town hall projects under budget. 2, expenditures increase and decreases. Increases, DPW equipment increased by $384,743 for the purchase of a snowplow tractor purchase. Police equipment increased by $56,817 for a squad purchase. Old road increased by $155,297.47. Projects included Beulah Heights covered. Town Board Special Project decreased by $4,375. Organizational assessment study completed. DPW salaries increased by $15,650.25. The employee retirement payout per contract. Decreases to expenditures. Fire capital decreased by $813,910.54. Ladder truck purchase put off to 2026. Rescue capital decreased by $130,189. Ambulance purchase put off to 2026. Town hall building projects decreased by $20,000. Winter projects and other building projects came in under budget. Election hourly wages decreased by $4,375 to pay for the organizational study that was not budgeted for. This resolution was duly considered and adopted by the town board, Town of East Troy Town Board, pursuant to a vote of on the 17th day of November 2025.
So roll call.
Can I ask a question? Why are we putting DPW salaries increase? I thought that was in a designated fund.
It is, I have to take it out of the designated.
It's the same amount.
I get it, I'm sorry. With regards to the law meeting.
John, aye.
Ray is aye.
Jones, aye.
Church, aye.
Leonard, aye.
Who made the motion and who made the second?
Oh, we didn't make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve Town of East Troy resolution number 2025-11. Resolution amending 2025 budget for the Town of East Troy.
Second.
All in favor?
Run it back.
What?
John, aye.
Oh, roll call.
Ray is aye.
Jones, aye.
Church, aye.
Leonard, aye.
Do we need to have the E-Code 360 contract, online service contract reviewed by the attorney or not? We're good?
I don't know who put that on there.
I
And I haven't seen a copy of it either.
Oh, you haven't? Well, it
Well,
came
it says
through,
for him to review it.
right. I received an email that said we got a new service contract, right?
Yes.
And so, should we have that reviewed or not? That's why it's here. If we don't need to, yeah. Okay. So,
I haven't seen it, so.
I'll make a motion to authorize Attorney Mills to review E-Code 360 online service contract.
Second.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We have special meetings.
Next Monday, the 24th, they're going to handle committee meeting at 3:30, which that's supposed to be 4 o'clock. Also November 24th at 6 p.m., we're having the public budget hearing, the meeting of the electors. November 26th through the 28th, all day the town hall will be closed for Thanksgiving. December 3rd and 17th, planning commission at 6:30. December 8th, that is the next town board meeting at 6:30. Mid-December from 9 to 1, tax collection begins at the town hall. December 24th through the 26th, all day the town hall will be closed for the Christmas
Yes, ma'am.
Park Committee tabled its meeting on November 11th and rescheduled it for November 18th at 4 o'clock.
And now the planning commission will just meet on the 17th. The planning commission will only meet on the 17th, not the 3rd, because we moved it one meeting format.
Back to January.
Well, there has to be an ordinance change first, so it's just an amendment, it's not a new one, so December, and then it'll go into effect January.
Okay. Wishful thinking.
Did we approve the ordinance to be updated? I don't think we did.
The planning commission, when you did.
Okay, we did. Just trying to.
November 20th, 5:30. I do put that in my report, so I don't know if you already have this filled out before you get that, or?
I can add it.
Yeah, just so you know.
That's November 20th for ETA.
Yeah, 5:30 PM.
I don't know, is the compost site, we got lots of calls, and the compost site is going to be open the 21st and 22nd, as well as the 28th and 29th. So Friday and Saturday of this week, and Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Oh, this month.
9 to 2.
Okay. Anything else with special meetings? So at this point, we're going to go into closed session for discussions on a couple of topics to do with compensation payouts and contract amendments with employees.
Make a motion to adjourn to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.85 sub 1 sub C.
I'll second.
Okay, on.
Roll call.
Roll call.
John, aye.
Reyes, aye.
Jones, aye.
Church, aye.
Leonard, aye.
All right, so we're adjourned to closed session. Thanks everyone for coming.
For the snowplow agreement, you pointed at me how road, is it possible to get what's needed prior to, like, we did Thanksgiving? Can I get something, because our road's got a Christmas party, I can probably get a lot of signatures on it.
You mean this coming week?
No, the week of Thanksgiving, so yeah, I guess it's next Thursday.
Yes.
Are you gonna get them out this year, or?
No, it'll be for next year.
Yeah.
It'll be for next year, so you're gonna get these.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right, I thought it was for this year.
No,
and
no,
fix
that's
it.
why I didn't- that wasn't the intent.
Taking your phone.
It was a typo.
It was a typo. But I mean, I'd love to get them to you, get a bunch of signatures.
Hey.
Don't worry about it, all that stuff.
Okay.
Have that attorney letter.
All right.
Oh.
All right,
That's fine. My first draft I did have on.
Yeah, we'll get it
first.
Okay, so,
Chief. What are we doing? What does this say? A little potty or something?
Water.
Oh, never mind. I was gonna have you push them out.
you were responsible for it tonight. Tyson.
What?
You were responsible for Joe. He's gone.
Joe?
John.
Oh. Well, he's gotta go potty.
So I think it's up to the board, for the first part of the closed
Wait.
session.
We're gonna close the door.
Might want Kim and Jean here,
Okay,
but for the second part, probably not.
okay. I guess you're in for the first one. Clerk, deputy clerk.
For the payouts.
Yeah. I'm assuming you have what Jen's number would be?
Got all of them, okay, here. So, what I would point out is in existing contracts, they're not supposed to be over 40 hours banked. However, this has been an ongoing practice that's honestly a little out of hand. I think Supervisor Reyes has been identifying this for a couple of years to get comp time under control. So, excuse me?
The sound is on.
The sound is on, you don't have to turn it off, but the recording is on. So we.
But
the majority on.
she can, then stop that. She can hear it all on the Facebook page.